Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about GCE A-level maths with algebraic expression, and I will be going through some of the basics concepts, and I will select some of review exercise questions in the textbook and some past paper questions in this video. Okay, so before we move on to do some questions, we need to have a very good understanding of the very basic concepts. So all we have to know is Part 1, Part 4, Part 5, and 6, and actually 7. But I think that in Part 7, you don't really have to memorize it because it is very easy to understand. Okay, all you have to know is when you encounter some value like that, if you see the positive sign in the denominator, such as a plus root b, all you have to do is times the numerator and the denominator by a minus root b. So if this is positive sign, then this one would be negative sign. And same as here. If this one is negative sign here, then this one should be positive sign. And you will slowly realize how it works when you do more questions. So let's do some questions now. Okay, let's start off with the questions from the textbook. This question is actually from the page 85 in the textbook, and for the part 8, they want me to find the value of 125, power of 4 over 3. So for part 8, 125 power of 4 over 3 would be equals to 125 power of 1 over 4, bracket power of 4. The value inside there, 125 power of 1 over 3 would be 5, and bracket power of 4. The answer would be 625. And for the part B, they want me to simplify 24x squared divided by 18x power of 4 over 3. So, first step we have to do is to write down the equation 24x squared divided by 18x power of 4 over 3. The next step would be 24 divided by 18 times x squared over x power of 4 over 3. Next would be 4 over 3 times, because 2 divided by 4 over 3, x squared divided by x power of 4 over 3 would be equals to x2 minus 4 over 3. The final answer would be 4 over 3 times x power of 2 over 3. And that would be the answer for the question 2. Okay, let's move on to the next question. For question 3, they want me to express the root 80 in the form of a times root 5. So the only thing that I know is root 80 will be equals to a to the root 5. So how can we know the a? The only way that we can know the a is a would be equals to root 80 divided by root 5 equals to root 80 over 5, which is root 16. Therefore, a would be 4. And the final answer would be 4 root 5. And for part B, they want us to express a minus root 5 bracket square in the form of b plus c root 5. Okay, so first thing first, 4 minus root 5 square equals to 4 minus root 5 times 4 minus root 5. And first thing we have to do is to expand this. So 4 times 4 would be 16, and 4 times minus root 5 would be minus root 4 root 5 minus 4 root 5 plus, because negative times negative would be plus, root 5 times root 5. And next would be 16 minus 8 root 5 times 5, because root 5 times root 5 would be 5. So next, the final answer would be 16 plus 5 would be 21 minus 8 root 5. And this is the final answer. Okay, let's do one more questions for review exercise in textbook, and then we'll crack on with some past paper questions. Okay, for the question 8, they want us to calculate P plus Q over P minus Q in form of m plus n root 2. So we have to plug P and Q into this equation first. So P plus Q over P minus Q would be equals to P and Q, okay? 3 minus 2 root 2 plus 2 minus root 2 over 3 minus 2 root 2 minus 2 minus root 2. Okay, so next step would be 3 plus 2 would be 5, and minus 2 root 2 minus root 2 would be minus 3 root 2. Okay, 3 minus 2 would be 1. Negative 2 minus negative 1 would be negative root 2. And the next step we have to do is to 5 minus 3 root 2 over 1 minus root 2, because this is minus sign. So we have to do is to times the numerator and the denominator by 1 plus root 2 over 1 plus root 2 in order to write it in this form: positive, positive, and negative. Next step would be 5 times 1 would be 5, and 5 times root 2 would be 5 root 2, and minus 3 root 2 times 1 would be minus 3 root 2, and minus 3 root 2 times root 2 would be equals to minus 3 times 2, because root 2 times root 2 would be equal to 2. And over 1 times 1 would be equals to 1, and 1 times root 2 will be equals to root 2. Minus root 2 times 1 will be minus root 2. And root 2 times root 2 would be equals to 2 and minus 2. Therefore, and as you can see, here's the reason. Root 2 minus root 2 would be cancelled out. So the answer would be 3 times 2 would be 6. So 5 minus 6 would be equals to minus 1. Plus 5 minus 3 would be equals to 2 root 2 over 1 minus 2 would be equals to minus 1. So the final answer would be minus 1 divided by minus 1 is 1, and minus 2 root 2, and this would be the answer. Okay, I've selected quite a few of the past paper questions, and I will start from the very easiest to slightly harder. Okay, so I will start off with question 1, and this one is actually from the C1 past paper, May 2010, question 1. C1 is basically the older syllabus. So root 75 minus root 27, how can we do that? The way we can do that is to take out root 3. So when 75 divided by 3 would be root 25, minus, take out root 3 as well, times root 9. Next, root 25 would be 5 root 3, minus root 9 would be 3 root 3, and 5 root 3 minus 3 root 3 would be 2 root 3. This is also in the form of k root x, so this one should be the answer. So 1 mark for the working step and 1 mark for the final answer. Let's carry on with more past paper questions, and this question here is actually from C1, the older syllabus, Jan 2011, question 1. Okay, so for the part A, they want us to find 16 to the power of minus 1 over 4. So the first thing first we have to do is to copy down the value first, minus 1 over 4. And we have to know that all the number to the power of negative value would be equals to 1 over that value. So which is 16 to the power of 1 over 4. And next step, 1 over 16 to the power of 1 over 4 would be 2. So the answer would be 1 over 2 would be the answer. So 1 mark for the working step and 1 mark for the final accurate answer. And for part B, x times 2x to the power of minus 1 over 4 to the power of 4. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is to separate the x and the bracket 2x to the power of 1 over 4 to the power of 4. So next thing is to just copy the x down to the next step. Okay, bracket for this thing here. 2 to the power of 4 would be equals to 16, and minus 1 over 4 times 4 would be minus 1, so it would be x to the power of minus 1. And next step would be x times 16 over x, because this one is negative value, negative 1, as x to the power of minus 1 would be equals to 1 over x. So 1 over x times 16 would be equals to 16 over x. And the final answer would be x divided by x would be 1. So the final answer would be 16. And here's 2 marks for the part B. 1 mark for the working step and another mark for the final answer. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. And this question is also from C1 module, but the date is May 2012, question 2. Slightly harder, this one, but I mean, if you stick with it, then it should be easy. So first thing first, 32 to the power of 3 over 5. And the next step would be, I want to separate the 3 and 1 over 5. So I would do 32 to the power of 1 over 5, bracket, close the brackets, and to the power of 3. Next step would be 32 to the power of 1 over 5 would be 2. 2 to the power of 3 would be 8. And that would be the final answer for part 8. It said 2 marks, so I guess 1 mark is for the working step and another mark would be the final correct answer. So for the part B, slightly complicated, okay? Bracket 25x to the power of 4 over 4, close the brackets, power of minus 1 over 2. Okay, so the next step would be, because this one is negative sign, okay, so what I can do is 1 over brackets, just copy this thing down, 25x to the power of 4 over 4, 1 over 2, because this is negative sign. This thing here looks quite complicated, but actually the only thing that you have to do is to move the 4 to the power of 1 over 2 up to 1. This is how. 1 divided by 25x to the power of 4, power of 1 over 2, over 4 to the power of 1 over 2, which is 2 actually, and would be equals to 1 times 4 to the power of 1 over 2 over 25 times x to the power of 4, power of 1 over 2. This is how, okay? Sorry for ugly handwriting. Okay, this is how. Yeah, 1 over 2. And this value times 1 would be equals to the 4 to the power of 1 over 2 move up to the numerator. And the final step would be 4 to the power of 1 over 2 would be 2, and over 25 to the power of 1 over 2 would be 5, times x, 4 times 1 over 2 would be 2, so would be equals to x power of 2. And that would be the final answer. Okay, let's carry on with question 4. First thing first, they want me to show that 2 over root 12 minus root 8 can be written in form of root a plus root b. So, first thing we have to do is 2 over root 12 minus root 8 times root 12 plus root 8 over root 12 plus root 8. The reason why we have to times root 12 plus root 8 over root 12 plus root 8 is because the denominator of this value is stick with the minus sign. So we have to times it with the positive and positive in order to get this form of root a plus root b. So we don't want any root value in a denominator. We need to get rid of it. So we have to do this. So easy way to remember, if this is negative sign, then we have to times denominator and the numerator with the positive sign. So next would be 2 times root 2 would root 12 would be 2 root 12 plus 2 times root 8 would be 2 root 8 over root 8 times root 8, root 12 times root 12 would be 12, just 12, and root 12 times root 8 would be plus root 96 minus root 8 times root 12, root 96, and root 8 times root 8 will be 8, but there's a minus sign. Minus root 8 times root 8 would be minus 8. So next step would be, I'm gonna take it out the root 4 in this root 12. So it would be something like this. And I will also take out root 4 from root 8. The reason why I do this is because 2 root 12 cannot add 2 root 8. So we have to make it the same root value first. So we have to take it out the root 4 and add the value together. 12 minus 8 would be 4. And root 96 minus root 96 will be cancelled out. And the next step would be 2 times 2 times root 3 plus 2 times 2 times root 2 over 4. The final answer would be 2 times 2 equals to 4, root 3 plus 2 times 2 would be 4, root 2 over 4. The final answer would be root 3 plus root 2. And this would be the final answer for this question here. Okay, let's do 2 more questions and we're done, okay? So first thing we have to do, 5 minus 2 root 3 over root 3 minus 1. First thing we have to do is to times the denominator and the numerator with 5 minus 2 root 3 over root 3 minus 1 times the whole thing with root 3 plus 1 over root 3 plus 1. The reason is because the denominator in this value is negative, is minus. So we have to swap the sign with two positive. So positive and positive equals to 5 times root 3 would be 5 root 3 times plus 5 times 1 would be 5, minus 2 root 3 times root 3 would be minus 2 times 3, and the last one, minus 2 root 3 times 1 would be minus 2 root 3, over root 3 times root 3 would be 3, and root 3 times root 1 would be plus root 3, minus 1 times root 3 would be minus root 3, and minus 1 times 1 would be minus 1. The final answer would be 5 root 3 minus 2 root 3 would be equals to 3 root 3 plus 5 minus 6 would be negative 1. And 3 minus 1 would be 2. Root 3 minus root 3 would be cancelled out. And the final answer would be 3 over 2 root 3 minus 1 over 2. And that would be the answer. And 4 marks. Okay, 1 mark for the method marks, and 2 marks for the working, and 1 mark for the final accurate answer. Okay, so one more question to go. For the first one, for the first part, 5 minus root 8 brackets times 1 plus root 2 will be equals to, this one is quite straightforward, 5 times 1 would be 5, and 5 times root 2 would be 5 root 2, and minus root 8 times 1 would be root 8, minus root 8 times root 2 would be minus root 16, which is 5 plus 5 root 2 minus, I'm gonna take the value of root 2 out, okay? Root 4 minus root 16 would be 4. 5 minus 4 would be equals to 1. 5 root 2 minus 2 root 2 would be equals to 3 root 2. And this would be the answer for the part A. And 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the working, and 1 mark for the final. And for the part 2, okay, root 80 plus 30 over root 5. Okay, the first thing we have to do is I just copy down the root 80 plus 30 over root 5 times root 5 over root 5, because I do not want the denominator to be root value. So next step would be root 80 plus 30 root 5 over 5. So 30 divided by 5 would be 60. Would be 6 root 5. So it would be 80 plus 6 root 5. And they want us to write in form of c root 8. So the next step we have to do is to take out the root 5 with it. So root 80 would be equals to root 16 times the root 5 plus 6 root 5, which would be equals to 4 root 5 plus 6 root 5, which is 10 root 5. And that would be the answer. So yeah, 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the working step, and 1 mark for the final.